plans. There are developers.
There's a lot going in out there. I mean,
there are people eyeing the Wild Cherry Canyon, and I didn't even know what Wild Cherry Canyon was. You know that little parking area where people park to take the tour of the lighthouse?
Yes.
Well,
that's Wild Cherry Canyon?
Yeah, and apparently developers.
They want to develop.
In Silicon Valley, it's developers of a different kind. Here, it's just housing developers.
Well, you know, right past developers. They're talking about putting in a resort and RVs with like 150 spaces and a restaurant and all that stuff. And now, last night on the news, we hear they're planning on putting in a huge amount of homes.
Well, there's a group that is, but now there's a petition in response to that group that has made very public their designs on a 15,000-unit development in that canyon.
It's a lot of homes.
PG&E owns that land, and the group argues, and I think this is an excuse. The group argues that the infrastructure is not there to allow 15,000 people to come in and out.
Because there's one road in, one road out.
In, one road out, which is a very solid, legitimate argument.
Yeah.
Okay? But isn't that using a very solid, legitimate argument to make sure that your house values retain their value?
Yes.
I'm guessing that this is a group of homeowners in Avila Beach that are signing this petition. Now, they're going to be at the Bob Jones Trail this weekend, which is a horrible weekend for it because it's supposed to rain, but anyways.
I think they were there over the last weekend, too, I remember hearing.
And they're trying to get
of signatures.
Trying to get people to sign the paperwork saying, sign our petition to...
Doesn't 15,000 homes sound like a lot? For that area... Can you imagine? I mean, if you put 15,000 homes,
I don't know how
many people are in a house?
Nobody knows how deep that canyon is.
But how many people are in a house? And if they're keeping it the same infrastructure where there's only one road in, Avila Beach Drive, and one road out, and there's just that one little town with the one restaurant, the one bar, or there's a couple restaurants there.
Come on. You know that has grown since then.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
It is like that. There's one bar. There's two restaurants. There's a couple coffee shops. That's it. That's Avila Beach. There's not. I mean, that's true. There's a third French restaurant, and there's a couple of wine bars.
A lot of wine bars.
There's like 6 or 7 wine bars in there.
A lot of wine bars.
Well, it's a tourist area.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, okay, now you're going to put 15,000 more homes in, and now there's a couple more restaurants. There's 2 on the pier
at
and
the end of the road
and all that.
After you
have to have another way in and out. You can't just have everybody use that road. Like, I don't know what the plan is, and maybe they do have a plan to put another road in. I don't know how
people use that road every weekend though, and on nice weekends in the summertime, and there's more than 15,000 people going out there.
But now we're going to put 15,000 more homes in.
If you add 15,000 people on top of that,
no, that's not people. That's homes. How many people live in a home? At least 2, for the most part. 4. I don't know. Yeah, I think
that does seem a little bit ambitious. 15,000 units seems a little bit ambitious.
Unless,
like 2,000 units seems doable.
What they were planning to do at Monarch Dunes was they were going to put, they put Monarch Dunes in. They have a road. They have 2 roads that go in there and out. They were going to put a shop, a grocery store, like a Vons or something in there. So, like, you make it a community. If you actually do something like that, then I haven't seen these plans.
That still doesn't change the road situation.
No, but but that of course has to be a part of it. You have to have another way in and out, and I don't know how you do that.
But then again, 15,000 additional homes would help ease the affordable housing crunch that we have here on the Central Coast.
I'm wanting it because, I'm looking.
You root for
I'm looking for house prices to come down.
You and Steve are like on the same page.
Developers.
We're all about developers.
I can't keep up with him. He's too much. Always want to know what you think about this. 543-3693. Those are the phones. You can call or text on that line.
We want to know what your thoughts are over at KZOZ.com. Here are your options. Let me know if something needs to be added. 543-3693. You could text or call. Here's your 3 options, okay? I think anytime you can provide more housing for the Central Coast, it is good. It wrecks the beauty of the area. or the area cannot sustain the traffic.
Somebody just said it won't work out. It'll be too congested. Matt just wrote
so
in.
Then that would be the area can't sustain the traffic. If you're voting in the poll question,
but
KZOZ.com.
if you figure out another road in and out, and that changes the ballgame.
You're talking about mountains. I mean, you're talking about huge. Like I don't know.
Well, you got to go over them.
The geographic. I don't know the geographic outlay of the area, but is it cost effective for 15,000 people or for
one thing you might be able to do is
to build a new road out of that area? How could you do that?
The one thing you might be able to do is tie in with the road that goes over by the apple orchard. I don't know the name of the road. Sea Canyon Road. Yeah, you could tie into that, and people could either go out through Avila Beach Drive or San Luis Bay Drive. Sorry, it'll take you back to San Luis Bay Drive to get back to the freeway, or you could actually I don't know how you finish that road. That thing is crazy. Or you do that road and it comes into Los Osos Valley Road on the other side, and you actually finish that project. But how many millions and millions of dollars would it take to do that project? I mean, to get it to go all the way to Los Osos Valley Road would be nuts. But to get it to just go to Sea Canyon Road would not be that big a deal, I wouldn't think.
Inevitably, our area is going to be in a drought again, right? I mean, it's just going to happen. I mean, though it is kind of coming close to happening right now. And all this talk before PG&E said that they were going to close down Diablo Canyon was, you have a desalination facility out there at Diablo Canyon. It's part of the nuclear power plant. Let's build a pipeline and move water in. How come that discussion has not been on the table for something to do with Diablo Canyon? How quickly we forget once we get water, right? But wouldn't that be the most logical use for Diablo Canyon land? Now, this is not even. I'm not even talking about the development, but I'm just hearing of all these things that they should do with this area. We're talking about building roads and building developments and all this stuff. But the most logical thing is you have the infrastructure for a desal plant. Got some pretty good experts that probably know how that thing works, working for PG&E. I understand PG&E is in the electricity business, but why not be in the water business as well?
Well, I mean, because the city didn't want to put the money in, or the county didn't want to put the money in to put those pipelines in to pump that water out to Lopez and store it there, which would have been awesome. I mean, that would have been great for the lake, would have been great for the recreation, and it would have been great for the five cities.
Not even storing it there. It doesn't even have to store it there. You can move it somewhere closer than Lopez Lake. You could move it somewhere.
Create another reservoir?
You could move it. Yeah, you have reservoirs within your disposal. You could dig a reservoir. You can make it so that San Luis Obispo or the five cities could use it. It's not. I mean, that's the most logical use for that land. Yet nobody talks about it but they were talking about it hardcore back when we were having a drought. And then this is how, and I think this speaks volumes to us as a society right now. Out of mind, out of sight. We don't remember the past. Everything's moving forward. So we got these little devices in our hands, and we're always trying to figure out how to do the next thing. But we don't remember that just 2 years ago, we were in dire drought situation 2 years ago.
With what we have.
We were talking about desalination plants and complete...
just something we should still be doing.
Cambria, if there was a fire, it was going to overtake the entire town, and there was nothing that we could do about it. These kinds of things, we forget about them. But yet, we have the infrastructure through Diablo Canyon, from what I understand. And granted, I'm not an expert on it. But we have that infrastructure out there.
What happens to Diablo when they leave? What happens to that desalination plant? Does the county buy it?
Yes. Do something.
You would hope so. Figure something out, because
PG&E run it.
If you're going to put in that many more units, you're going to need water. We need water already. All right. Hi, you're in the air. What do you want to say?
Good morning, fellas.
Hey.
PG&E has a long-term lease. They don't own the property. HomeFed is the one that owns the property.
Yes, I saw that on the news.
And we've talked, because I'm part of the Tri-County Building Trades, we've talked about the desalination plant.
Mm-hmm.
And all they would have to do is run about a 8-mile pipeline to Avila Beach and put that fresh water in that line. They could pump it backwards to Lake Lopez and also feed the communities.
On the way.
They make 1 million gallons. They make 1 million gallons of fresh water a day. They only use 400,000 gallons.
Yeah, so 600,000 gallons just
on a daily
dumped
basis
back into the ocean.
On a daily basis.
They're at a surplus every day now, and it was part of the plan, but since the Coastal Commission got involved and all that malarkey, they have abandoned that.
See, there's all these little subgroups like he's bringing up, the Coastal Commission. There's all these little things that get in the way, that have an issue. Yeah. And I'm sure they have, reasons. I don't know if they're great, but they might be have some good reasons. But at the same time...
How much of the reason is job security, though, for whatever agency they work for? That's my question. How much of that reason is that? Because what is for the betterment of the community? Fresh water that is usable in an area where you have to remember... We don't have the benefit of snow melt out here on the coast like they do in the valley.
We don't have rivers that run here because of snow melt. I mean, we need to figure something out because if not, this place is going to dry up. And then where are your home values at? Where are your home values at now, you socialites? Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Like you say, the infrastructure's in, and it can be expanded.
Yeah.
And if you got the main infrastructure in, that's the major cost of the whole project.
Right. It's right there. And it's probably going to go to waste.
Yeah, I'm afraid it probably will.
Okay, well, good. And you're right, Jeremy. Very good point.
Weather patterns are changing.
Coastal
Global warming is a thing. I mean, I know there's some people right now that don't like that word, but weather patterns are changing. Things are changing, and the storms are different. And we're getting these dry spells, and then when we're not getting these dry spells, thanks again for the call, bud. We're getting these terrific storms in the Midwest, and they're devastating. And so things in this planet are changing. And I know things haven't changed over the course of the history of this planet for centuries and centuries and centuries. I get that, but we're living here now. And our kids are in school, and they're going to have kids, and we want to provide something for them here, and we'd like to, we just have to think that way. And if the Coastal Commission is worried about some seagulls or some sea lions or what the natural habitat is going to happen if they dig a pipeline, I mean, I don't know exactly what their concerns are, but that's crazy. That's crazy.
It is crazy to me because here you have something that is perfectly good, that is working, that is, according to that caller, creating how much? 600,000 gallons a day?
That it's not using. It's 1 million gallons a day it's using. He said 400,000 is used for the plant. That means 600,000 gallons is wasted, and I believe they hold it, and then a lot of it just gets put back into the ocean.
Now, when the plant goes away,
they have actually...
Infrastructure will still be there for it. I mean, maybe that's how you keep Diablo Canyon around. You make a case for water. But the problem is PG&E doesn't want to have to deal with it anymore because they don't want to have to deal with groups like the Coastal Commissions and the various
and they have to deal with so much already.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
Why would we deal with it? We got sun and wind energy now. We're going to go ahead and harness that.
Listen, it's going to grow here. Grow it in the right areas. Make sure we grow it in the right areas, and maybe that is a great place to put it. But there needs better access, and we need water, and those are the two things they're going to have to figure out. But I guarantee you, this probably will not happen in my lifetime. Because everybody will just argue
it's
about
out of sight, out of mind.
And then,
it's out of sight, out of mind. Hell, they're going to fire up the desalination plant down in Santa Barbara, and they got in there and they started opening it up, and they're like, "Wow, these computers are out. They wouldn't even work. These computers that we have in here wouldn't even work because nobody's even been in here since the '80s."
Talking about this new project where they want to put in 15,000 units. We're trying to decide, is that a home? What is a unit? We think it's a home. Could be an apartment, a townhouse, and homes. And they just call them all livable units. But 15,000 in Avila Beach, and this is deep into Avila Beach on the way to Port San Luis, right where they do all the parking to take the shuttle out to the lighthouse, right? Is that what you said?
That's that little canyon area.
It's already tight in there, but they're talking about putting a resort in there.
We don't know because it's PG&E land, so unless you go back into that valley, we don't know what it's like.
I'm sure it could be crazy big and it could be great, but obviously, the traffic and then water has become an issue. And we were talking about Diablo Canyon and the desal plant that was there, and why did nothing happen with that? Want to say thanks to Patrick from SLO who sent us a story that was the Tribune did back in June of 2016.
How quickly we forget. This is less than 2 years ago.
Yeah, about the closure of the power plant by 2025. And apparently when they said, you know what, we're not going to keep you. We're not going to keep supporting you, PG&E. We want you to close that thing down. We don't want to renew your contract with the lease on the land. Then Diablo said, all right, then the desalination project that we had talked about is out. And it was going to supply 4,000 homes in the South County area the 5 cities area with water. And the plan
4,000?
was, well, it says here to supply water to 4,000 homes in South San Luis Obispo County, a project that was widely hailed as a valuable tool for protecting communities during drought and unreliable state water deliveries. All right. So the plan was you were going to build a pipeline. It was going to go into Avila. It would then hit a T that would meet up with the pipeline that comes in from Lopez, and they were going to pump water there, and it was going to supply us with water.
So they'd be able to change the flow of that of that pipeline.
But once they said we're not going to renew the lease with you guys for Diablo, we want you to shut down, then Diablo said, all right, well then that kills this deal as well. So now we're out. The project estimated to cost somewhere between $22 and $36 million is what we were looking at. So we had county supervisors, board of supervisors were okay. They gave the green light to spend $900,000 for a planning and permitting process project. Bruce Gibson said it was an opportunity that we couldn't afford to miss. Adam Hill said it was a very fragile situation because we needed to do it. But that changed, once the plant left. So now the plant's going to leave. Now you don't need to have the plant there to operate this, but it's their equipment, so you'd have to buy it from PG&E. Or I'm not sure how that would work out, but thanks for sending that in, Patrick.
Unless it's cooling down a nuclear reactor.
It's good to remind us that if PG&E's probably like, well, if you don't want to do business with us, then we don't want to do business with you, and we can't really afford.
I don't know if it was that cut and dry.
It's when you read the story. I mean, that's how you read. But I don't know if that's the case or not.
Today is Bring Your Hangover to Work Day. A gentle reminder from Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.